Gaming. Oh, there I am. Gaming. It's gaming time. We're back with the Queer Games bundle. Oh, hold on. You guys are gonna need some music. Need some music while we get set up. Wait, there's the music. I couldn't find it on my thing. That was no representative for you guys. Yeah, how is everyone? How have we been? Did we have a good weekend? I may have played a lot of. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. There was no Friday stream. I got caught up with a lot of work, so that ended up having to take priority, but we got everything sorted, and then I was exhausted. There was no recovering after that to try and get a stream in. But I'm back today. Where we're going to have to be steady on the stream so that we have enough to cover while I'm on hiatus, so that you guys will have enough VoDs going up on the YouTube. And reminder that the YouTube currently has edited versions of my Persona 2 VoDs going up. So if you want to catch up on the if you want to watch the entire story of Persona 2, you'll be able to do that on over in the YouTube. Oh, I need to get the command up for the Queer Games bundle, because again, that's what we're going to be covering today. I should also add to the title that we're the Queer Games bundle command. So that, hey, if you're interested in any of the games we play today, you should get the bundle. It is $60 regularly, or you can get the sliding scale version for somewhat cheaper. If you can't afford the $60 version, it has 450 things in it. There's a lot of games and a lot of other stuff just by queer creators that are worth checking out, and we'll be checking out some today. Last time we played Open Sorcery, which was an amazing game. We really enjoyed that. We tried out Extreme, we tried Little Miss, we played all of Little Miss Chocolate Eater. I think that's all we managed to squeeze in, because Open Sorcery was a lot. Well, no, it's an hour game, but like it was, given what we were doing, it was end up being 2 hours, so it ended up over 2 hours, so it was a long game for us. Right, give me a second. But with that, we will give the wheel a spin, and we will see what's going to be our first game for tonight. Is dropped connection. Alright, I'll get that set up and I will be right back. Right, so this is dropped connection. Oh, the egg music is still playing. Let's turn that off. Let's see if this is any music we can listen to. We'll put this on Open Dyslexic. Yeah, there will be some music, just not right now.
Font override. Self-voicing. Self-voicing disabled.
Oh, okay, that takes us right in. Turn that down a little bit for you. Actually, I'll make this first. No. Put it right down. I explain. So this was a game created for only 2 of any asset, visual novel jams. So this will be less than 1,000 words long, and it was created using a live 2D sprite, as you may have saw quickly on the title screen. I wasn't sure if you'd be allowed to use live 2D. That's good for next time. So on a sleepless night, Kiki browses her message history and overthinks the hints. She still isn't sure what were actually hints, wondering what could have been. Right.
I wonder if anyone's still awake. If I'm going to be up and miserable, I may as well have company.
Right, so this is, I guess this is fully voiced.
No. Darn, everyone's gone off for the day. I wish I could, too. Tashi. I wish I could talk to her right now, but I have no idea where she is. She just kind of disappeared like so many others. I can usually handle it, but not with her. I guess if I can't talk to her again, I can at least read our old chats.
Turn this down a little bit again. Oh, hi Kiki. I'm Maya for Bella. Saw you in the group for Spar Radiance.
Thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
Really liked your writing. But it was it was very cute.
Sure anyone would see it.
Okay, go fast, I guess, girl.
Well,
Oh, no way,
sure,
why?
York isn't a very common pairing. I think they're the best, but I guess that's just me.
No, I love them too. I think George is very handsome, and York is so cute. I like seeing them together. Actually, I want to be friends so we could talk about them more, if that's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be nice, actually. It's nice to meet you. Man, even back then, she was just so cute. She barely even knew me, but she was just so effortlessly sweet. Even now, it kind of gets to me, but it was probably nothing. Hi, Ella. How are you? Oh, is it okay if I call you that? Is that too weird? It's just a little easier.
If her fella is away.
Oh, I'm probably still early, huh? Sorry, I'm just so excited. Time zones are hard, too. Excited was putting it mildly. I spent that whole day pacing, waiting for her to show up.
Piketty, hi. Sorry I'm late. I had a lot of work to finish. Also, yes, you can call me Ella if you want. It's not actually my name, but isn't it pretty?
Wait, it's not? I just thought you really liked puns or something.
I do like puns, but I also like my privacy.
So I guess that means asking your real name is off the table?
Secret.
Not even if I tell you mine?
Okay, what's your name? Then I'll tell you.
Kiki.
Oh, that's actually your name.
I know, I'm not very creative.
No, I like it. It's cute. Just like you.
Huh? I mean, thanks, I think.
Mine is Tashi.
Oh, wow, that's so pretty. If it were me, I'd probably use that instead. But I get it, you gotta keep your privacy.
Oh, thank you. I like my name too, but I want to be safe. I feel safe with you though, so it's okay. Actually, since you know my name now, would you like to see a picture I took today too? I'm working on a cosplay. Please don't show anyone.
Please, show me.
Everfella sent cos001.jpg.
Oh, wow. It's so pretty. You look so good.
Thank you.
That was putting it mildly. I definitely should have said something then, because I knew I felt something. But did she feel the same? I couldn't be sure. I didn't want to scare her. So, I kept my mouth shut.
Kiki, look what my friend showed me. I've been reading it. You should read it too. I think you'd like it. Evervella sent peachflavor.pdf.
Let me see. Oh! I didn't know you liked Yuri.
You didn't? I guess I didn't tell you, did I? Yeah, well I do, everyone, and it's so beautiful. I love to look at them, but I wish I could be like them too.
Tell me about it. I don't know whether I want to be them or be with them. But I'm nowhere near pretty enough for either of those things.
Aww, I think Kiki must look cool too. I'm sure of it.
Hold on. First, that's not true. Second, you haven't even seen me.
Yep. Maybe, but I can feel it in my heart. I'm sure you're cool.
This kills the Kiki.
No, don't die. I'm sorry, I won't flatter you so much.
It's fine. I can think of worse ways to go. The sign was bright as neon, and I didn't say anything. God, do I wish I did now. Wish I knew that was my last chance.
Kiki, I have bad news.
Huh? What's up?
I'm moving to be closer to other family members soon. Their town is small and their internet is not very good. I may not be able to talk to you again. I'm so sorry.
What? No! I'm so sorry, Tashi.
I'm really so sorry. I want to stay, but they need us. I'm going to miss you so much, Kiki. I really, really like you.
I'm gonna miss you too. It hurts so much already.
No, don't hurt yet. I'm still here.
But for how long? I don't want you to go at all, but how long can we still talk?
A few more days. I've already started packing non-essential things.
Tashi, Can I at least have your phone number so I can still talk to you? They have phones, right?
Of course, yes, they have phones. Mine is... Please take it.
I will. I promise I'll call you. At a reasonable time, anyway.
Of course. Please call me soon.
I never did. Knowing we were going to be separated soon, it was just too awkward. That awkwardness never went away. So I just let it go. But I wonder, is it too late or just late enough?
There we go. And that was our first game. That was Drop Connection. So that's a very, well, game. Very linear novel. That was really cute. I hope they do a follow-up for that one. Right. Let's get the... Oh, not that one. Let's get the wheel back up. Oh. Here we go. Let's see what else we have on here. And I can take Drops Connection. And we can give it a go. Down. Alright, we'll do Flappy Typer. I've been terrified of doing this one, but we'll do it. Right, give me a second. Okay, so this is we're going to learn the instructions to start off, so oh. Oh, okay. What? Okay. Yes. Uh, okay. Okay. This is this is nightmarish to me. I'm putting the egg music back on for y'all. I am G. Yo, why did you do this to me? I'm not even reading the instructions because I'm just trying. No. What? I unfair. That. I'm having a bad time. Turn the music up slightly. No. Fuck. Okay. I watched myself about to do it. What's the point of this game? A game that teaches you to slow down your typing speed. No. This is not the calming experience I expected of playing the games in this damn bundle. I thought I was going to manage it. Okay. So, let's find. Also, why am I not hearing the... Let's find this damn folder. Game data. Streaming assets. Okay, so there's a couple we get with it. Let's see if I can... Oh. Except, there we go. This is one of the stories that comes with it. But you can put in... If you didn't guess from the big bit of text I just failed to play the game with, you can put in your own stories. If you so wish. Oh. Well, I can start to hear game music. Or maybe I can't because OBS can't pick it up. Imagine just using this to promo your book. Nice. Nope. Oh. No, score. Never mind, I think I was just finally starting to hear the egg music. Oh. Ah. Don't know how that wasn't. How was that a note and the last one wasn't? No. Damn it. But I had a. Damn it. Breezy, congrats on being first. How are we? And congrats on being Breezy. How are you, Didi? You missed the first game. I realize I'm being a bad streamer, but this is taking so much concentration out of me. Yeah. Oh, rest in peace. I hope that things are better soon. Well, can't argue with that. Seriously, I hope you managed to get on alright. I'm not getting any better. This should be your incentive to buy the bundle so you can do better at this than I do. Because you're probably sitting there and going, yeah, I can totally do this better. Damn it. And you'd be correct. But I keep going nonetheless. I don't know why this is messing up my hand placement so bad. Yep, this is typing instructor Flappy Bird. It is hell to me as someone who is both bad at typing and bad at Flappy Bird. See? Exactly, and an incredible concept, an incredible set of things to put together. And what you can do is create so much frustration for me specifically. I'm just a little tiger. Like, they don't consider how hard this is for tigers like me who don't really know that much of what they're doing. And I'll have to adapt to things like this. Nope. I'm doing my best and it's not getting me very far. See? Nope. Ah! Messing up in the end. I'm going to suggest this to Katie. He is on streams. We're promoing our original. What? Works. Because I do think this would be an incredibly interesting way to try and promote your writing. Oh, damn it. We're almost at the end. We're almost at the end. No. Damn it. There we go. Oh. It's done. It's done. We did it. I'm not doing another label. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not. That was too much for me. I'm gonna be real quick and then we'll back spin the wheel. Right, enough of this. Enough. I am done. I am not taking this cruelty towards me. Well, let me just... Get our wheels set back up. Right. On to our next game, which will hopefully be kinder to me. Let's see. We're trying to get loan games. Ooh. Kaiju Noir. Okay, let me pull up the description for this one. Kaiju Noir. Kaiju Noir. Alright, so is it double checks this is stream safe, right? Right? And let me try. Okay, let's see, does Steam have a option for this one? Yes, it does. Does it have? It does not have the content set yet. I guess I will do that work. everyone here gently. So we have violent imagery. Discussions of trauma. I don't. There's a separate one for that. And non-violent drugs. There we go. Not intended for minors. But I'm not seeing any explicit sexual content, so should be good. But I will add significant profanity just in case. Right, so this is Kaiju Noir. We have deep beneath the surface of the earth, the monsters of ancient times live in a city of stone and corruption. Unwelcome the light of the sun, they exist in a world shaped by their experiences with humanity, but never to be part of it. In this city of Evernight, you take on the role of Detective Caribara, the private investigator of New Monstropolis, as they and their assistant Alexorus struggle to keep their agencies running, until a new client arrives, bringing with her a case that could either lead to wealth or a watery grave. Kaiju Noir is a pulp fiction visual novel that is quick, dirty, and satisfying to digest in one sitting. This tale of giant monsters, intrigue, corruption, and redemption. I'm judging by the fact that I'm like, there's no waiting plus tag. I'm not seeing any suggestion. And it's got a Twitch thing, so we should be safe. A full playthrough takes 2 to 3 hours depending on your reading speed, with choices that have subtle yet noticeable changes in the story and your experiences. Multiple playthroughs will reveal right, I'm just like please do not screw me over. Yeah, it sounds safe. Like, there's a couple words there that I'm like, that does not sound safe, but I think in combination they are fine. So let's get this one set up. LBRB. Right, here we go. Oh, I'll turn this up a little bit. Settings. Okay. Okay, we know what kaiju is. New Monstropolis. The site of monsters, figuratively and literally. We giant beasts with dark hearts and darker souls trudge the streets of this stone world. A decade since the war ended, and we kaiju used to isolate ourselves in this place below the surface instead of coexisting with humans. The human culture pervades, however, seeping through the cracks and into every element of this underground existence. We love kaiju in this household. Oh, hold on. Models acting. I don't know if it's gonna get fixed. I don't think it is. I don't know why it's being so mean to me today. Alright, sorry. A life of tainted isolation and oblivion. Yeah, we love kaiju here. We had our special Picardo kaiju stream too. Sometimes you have to make the difficult choices. Every night of your life. Harry. Every night another case, every night another horror story from the City of Monsters. Harry, are you awake? That's what you're here for, making a living on the fringe of society. Closing the book on the story is that always end badly. Detective Carrie Barrett, you have a client. You started from your nightly indulgence of self-loathing. The office around you the same as it was 20 minutes ago. Was this the life you expected when you began your career as a private investigator? Does this office make you feel like one of the charismatic PIs from the movies you watch every week? The walls crumble, stonework adorned with badly painted posters of those same films. No, not squalor, but close. Your assistant... Oh jeez, come on. Your assistant, Alexorus, is looking at you in the amused way he does every time he breaks you out of your daydreaming. What does he say when he looks at you? Oh! Oh! Who are we going to be? How half-boiled are we going to be? A broken kaiju who just wants to be left alone? One of those silver screen hard-boiled untouchables? Someone who just wants to make the city a little better? Oh. What kind of person are we? Let's go. Does it really matter? Perhaps he always says that the way you see yourself changes your narrative, whatever that means. Practically part of the same brood, crack your eggs together, figuratively at least. You both went your own ways on that journey, but were there through all the weirdness that followed. So I picked neither. He always has the grin on his face when he rouses you, still putting up with your nonsense after all this time. Being the sole private eye in the City of Monsters isn't exactly the glamorous life. A couple of cramped rooms for an office with the cheapest furniture that could be carved from a block of granite. Alex never complains though. You are! But that's what I expect from my damn chat at this point. I never expect you guys to make any decisions. What is it? Alex Alex has worked with you since she started the agency. A few years after the gates closed between the worlds, lured by the prospect of reliable pay and lurid intrigue. In the years that followed, you'd failed to provide either on a regular basis. Part assistant, part taskmaster, he keeps the lights on, the tea strong, and your ego in check. Most of the time. You wish you could pay him more or on time, but the City of Monsters really calls for the services of a private investigator. And there aren't a lot of folks beating down on his door to hire a disabled veteran with more brains than a Professor Sandwich. Are we open for new cases, or are you going to spend all night napping? What does the sign on the door say? Right now it says, "Keep your snout out of my business, fucker." But I'm pretty sure I can have that cleaned off by closing. Can't please everyone, can we? At least we got paid for that job. And ended up with a door covered in what I can only assume is crap coloured paint. Sounds like we're open then. Can I get a tea? We're out of tea, and the petty cash box is empty. We do have a client though. You dig around in your pockets until you find some coins and hand them across the scarred desk. That's That's everything I've got. Send in the client and fetch something to wake me up, please. Alex snatches the cash and walks back into the front room of the office. He comes back a moment later with a nervous individual in tow. You wish you could say the kaiju Alex gently ushers into the cramped office fills you with confidence of a lucrative job offer, but they don't. They shuffle into the room, wings held tight against their body, a dozen tons of fur and muscle and strained nerves. They were scared. Couldn't I blame them though? Folks usually arrived at their... Oh my god. Folks usually arrived at your door either terrified or furious, depending on what they needed to investigate. They glance around the room, possibly looking to escape, or for some telltale indication that they are in the right place. You don't know what a private investigator's office is supposed to look like, but this probably isn't it. Please, take a seat. They look nervously at the stool as if only just noticing it, and sits down, wings held tight around their body. Thank you. There's a long pause in which you hear Alex quietly slip out the front door. You know, it often helps to start conversations if we learn each other's names. I'll start. I'm Karibara. They or them if you don't mind. This is my office. It says he's still on the door, or usually does. You can call me Detective. I'm Maxora, Detective, Miss. She's well spoken for a kaiju, and wears enough gold to indicate a magpie-like tendency for the nicer things. That's a good start, Miss Maxora. Now, how can I be of assistance? Another long pause as she fidgets with her rings. No doubt you'd like to discuss a matter of some delicacy, otherwise you wouldn't be in my office. She looks up, and you see the fractured ice in her eyes, cold, beautiful, and afraid. I need your help, Detective. The words every private investigator loves to hear, the phrase somehow never growing old. I gathered that from the fact you're sitting in front of me. How can I... Sorry, background noise is happening. How can I be of assistance? I'm not the usual first point of call for kaiju in trouble. There's a police station just down the road. She looks down again, her claws clicking against each other as she rolls her eyes nervously. Someone has some information about me that they shouldn't. Yeah, hopefully that's stopped now. Means I can't have a get out to my family. That's why I can't go to the police. Blackmail? She nods. And you can't just pay them off? Not without asking my family for a lot of money, Detective. And they would want to know what it was for. You nod back. Common enough story, one you've heard a dozen times before. No doubt an encounter with the wrong monster she doesn't want getting out. And can you tell me what they have on you? Something bad enough to get you in trouble with the family? With the police? She shakes her head vigorously, tears welling up in her eyes. I can't tell you that, Detective. I've done things that I'm ashamed of. And the less you know, the less danger you're in. You raise an eyebrow, an unusual addendum. The less I know, the harder it is for me to do my job, Miss Maxora. But I will respect your privacy, no extra charge. You scribble on your second last business card and slide it across the table. This is my retainer. I charge by the day, not the case. First day in advance. There may be expenses, especially since I'm going in without a lot of information. She picks up the card, glances at it, and nods without hesitation. I can tell you where the message said to go, and who to talk to. Is that enough to start you off? From the front room, you hear Alex return, his cane clicking against the stonework. That's good to start. Can you show me the message? It might give me something more to go on. No, sorry, I don't have it with me. Fine, you can leave details for my assistant out front as well as the retainer. Anything you can tell me about them, about what they want? She stands, shaking her head and reaching for her bag. The blackmail demand only included a name and a place, so that I could find them when I was ready to pay. She leans across the desk, and the light glinting in her jewellery and the cold blue of her eyes. I would like this to be handled quietly, Detective. It'd mean a lot to me, personally, if you could just make this all go away. Girl, you're literally giving us nothing to work with. I don't know how we're meant to solve this case. There's obviously more she isn't telling you, but you aren't being paid to pry into her reasons. I'll do my best, Miss Mixora, but I'm not a bodyguard, or a hired dog. If you want someone disappeared, I'd recommend the police station down the road. The rates are more than reasonable. But I'm sure you do just fine, Detective. And please, call me Max. You are doomed from the start. Alex walks back into the room a few minutes later, mug in one hand and slip of paper behind an ear frill. Game, please. Game, please. Well, she was quite the character. Did she pay? He puts the cup neatly on the desk. The liquid inside is black as a lagoon at midnight and smells like molasses. Game, come on. In cash? No. Nice crisp new bills all tucked up neatly in the cash box, but the bulge in her purse says there's plenty more in there. Can I get a new chair and claim it as a business expense? Mine is falling apart. Tempting, I wouldn't mind a new hat. Somehow I'll keep shredding them. You have horns, Carrie. You aren't supposed to be wearing hats. I know, but when was the last time you saw a detective movie without a PI wearing a hat? Good point, but I get my chair first. Deal. If we can get a few days out of this case, I'll not only get you a new chair, but pay you for the last 2 weeks. Right, give me a wee quick second, I'm getting a lot of messages. Right, sorry about that. Deal, if we can get a few days out of the case, I'll not only get you a new chair, but pay you for the last 2 weeks. Sorry, Abake. Oi oi. Alex shrugs and pulls the paper from his pen, placing it on the desktop. How are you, Abaki? How have you been? Do what you can, Carrie. We're in this together. You deserve to get paid. I get my pension, not entirely helpless without you. I've seen how much they care about vets. I wouldn't trust a hatchling to survive on that pension. And yet I scrape by just fine. Anyway, here's the details of the messenger and hangout. Karma is unknown to me, though the place might have something. Thatcher is a dive off the main strip, been there quite a few times. How are the drinks? Cheap and not entirely lethal. You pick up the slip of paper and scan Alex's meticulous hand lettering. Lorithrak, the last scope, Cragleen. She really is playing this one close to the scales. I couldn't get anything out of her, not even a description. What the hell have you gotten us into? A case, which is more than we had this morning, or yesterday, or last week. Just don't go wasting all the money on the movies and hats. You try not to laugh as you drink your tea. So what's the plan? Go scope out the place, check with the cops. I know Carla Zora down at the station owes his favour after last time. Ooh. Nope. Straight to last scope we go. I'd rather not deal with the cops any more than I have to. They gave me a license to do this. Doesn't mean they like me doing it. Corrupt assholes. Can't believe they make you pay to do their job for them. Someone has to pay for all those donuts. You mean the bribes, protection money, and selling stolen evidence aren't enough? How many donuts does one kaiju need? That's me. I'm still on the fence about Carla Zora sometimes, but she chose her job and she has to live with it. Anyway, I'm going to head to the gulp and poke around so either Lorithrak shows up or I get bored enough to call it a night. Either way, you get to drink bad drinks and send the bill to Miss Maxura. Win-win, right? Alex chuckles and walks back into the front room. Oh, good luck, Abake, good luck. You might think differently after you try the drinks. Cragleen feels old, even in the city of monsters, a near forgotten side street worn low from thousands of years of heavy footsteps. The last scope is about what you expect from an ancient dive bar in this part of town. Rough stone brick, uneven windows, piles of rubble along the walls, the smell of industrial waste and kaiju vomit. You don't like going into bars in the first place. Too many kaiju vying for space, too much noise, too few answers. The smell of the place alone is almost enough to turn you away. As you approach the doorway, a bulging shape in the corner stands and extends an antlered head. Evening. You touch your four horns in acknowledgement. They grunt back sound more heavy machinery than communication. Busy night? They shrug their shoulders and push open the door with their tail, leaving behind a black trail of ink. Not much talker, are you? Their eyes narrow and gestures to the door with their antlers. You get the point, and he's passed into the bar. The interior of the bar is as crude as the exterior. showing its age as one of the city's oldest drink pits, not despised, just mostly forgotten to the ages. The bar and tables are all stone slabs, probably hewn from the same quarry as the bricks that made the rest of the building. It's easy to believe that the bar wasn't built but dug out from the surrounding stone. The bartender watches you enter with one head and the television mounted above the bar of the other. A small crowd of kaiju sat around various tables on one side that doesn't fit anyone's stools. A couple of them look up from their drinks, but mostly just keep drinking like this might be their last gulp after all. Trying to look like another worn-out monster after a hard night, you make your way to the bar. Always slick. You look around the limited drinks selection. Alex was right. Everything that doesn't look like it was brewed in a refinery is cheap rock gut you could use to remove rust. Makes you glad you don't drink booze. Best stick with a soda. Monster Mash. Monster Mash. Yeah! Yeah! The purple can the bartender slides across to you is festooned with pictures of various movie monsters. You can't help yourself but sing part of the advertising jingle under your breath. They drink the mash. They drink the Monster Mash. It even smells purple. How does it smell purple? You slide a couple of coins across the bar and sit on a stool. The bartender pushes back less change than you'd expect, but you don't comment. You're a cop. You're broken from your quiet observations of the bar area, trying to figure out who could be the blackmailer just by appearance. In the movies, they would be hunched in a corner, hat over the eyes, looking shifty. But you're the only one wearing a hat, and everyone here is hunched. What? Most folk come here to drink and don't give a damn about anyone else. You're scoping out the place. If you're a cop, tell me now so I know who to call if you end up in the alley out back. But if you're thinking of robbing the place, I'll just tear you apart here and now. No hard feelings. That happen often. The bartender shrugs, their one head still not moving from the screen. Not that you'd hear. Kaiju here mostly keep to themselves. So, cop or not? Definitely not. You flash your private investigator badge on the bar so only the bartender can see it. I guess you'd say I'm freelance. The bartender looks affronted, both heads swap around to look you up and down with matching scowls. Ironclaw? Then you really won't be popular around here. Folks don't like nosy flat pads sticking their muzzle where it doesn't belong. You don't have to worry about me, I'm only here to find someone. I'm not about to cuff or stomp any of your regulars. Just gonna cause trouble in here, got it? Staying out the front does a good job at dealing with trouble. But I hate having to replace the furniture and clean the mess off the walls when they're done. So watch yourself. No trouble here, just doing my job as quietly as I can. No stomping intended. The bartender nods and turns back to their show. What you watching? Dunno, it's either one of those old human monster movies or a war documentary. That sounds terrible either way. Who's winning? Then not watching the monster spits into the sink. Us, so it's probably just a movie. Their tone tells you everything you need to know. After working with Alex for years, it's become easy to spot those who came back from the war. Over there. I nod ahead. Right near the end. Lied about my brood year, went out, barely came back. Did what I had to do to get a job here. Been working here ever since. You know the worst place to end up. They don't reply. You slowly work through your drink, getting a feel for the place. It's not as bad as you thought once you block out the smell. The name tracks, by the way. So, who are you looking for? The bartender is still watching the movie, which is now showing a giant kaiju wrecking a power plant that crumbles like cheap wood. which it probably is. Someone named Lorithrax. Hey, know him? Again, the non-committal shrugs. Maybe. Most people don't deal in names here. Not real ones, at least. Decide and start reaching for your wallet, knowing where this is going. Anything I can do to help you remember? Depends. You any good? At what? Answering vague questions? Fucking great at it. Try me, ask another. One head laughs and the other growls. Wise arse. I'd watch that muzzle round here if you had, like, your teeth. I mean, you gotta be any good at it as a detective, and you know it. You give a variation of their non-committal shrug. I've ended a few marriages and found my share of lost pets. Need something looked into? They pierce the top of another can with a pincer and hand it to you. I got something for you. Not now though. You got a card or something? You hand over your last business card. They glance at it skeptically. Oh, you're the one Alex works for. You know Alex? Long story, I don't ask. He comes in sometimes for a drink. They pocket the card in their apron and nod to a table off of the back of the bar. Laura's over there, you can't miss him. The indicated table holds a single occupant, hot, spiky, and drinking like they are prepared to go on drinking forever. One of the best and worst customers. Drinks all night, never tips, never says thanks. Some fucking gratitude wouldn't go amiss. Ever spin his drink? Both mouths grin widely. Every fucking night. Tried to stiff me on the tab one night. Don't try to screw off a two-head. We don't forget and can spit twice as hard. You pick up your drink and stand up from the bar. Remind me never to piss you off. Anyway, look me up when you've got time. I'll help you out if I can. The nods go back to watching the end of the movie, and you head toward the occupied table in the back. As you approach the back table, you catch the stink coming from Lorithrax. Dank, musty, alcohol-ridden, the stench of a loner you're all too familiar with. The table before them is littered with empty cups, the bartender obviously not wanting to get any closer than they have to. Lorithrax. They look up, peering up at you over the top of their drink, eyes trying to focus on the poor light. What's it to you? Whatever you're selling, I don't want any. Just someone looking to have a chat. You look like you could use some company. Laura looks you up and down with a sneer before gazing back down at their drink. Don't want nothing done except to be left alone. You pull out the stool opposite and sit down. Well, that's too bad, Laura, because I'd like to talk. Of course you you're a cop. Everyone seems to be asking me that today. Maybe it's the hat. Well, I'm not a cop. Just someone who needs a few answers. Laura snarls, finishes her drink and slams the cup back on the table and waves to the bartender. What kind of questions? The kind that have to do with Maxora. Never heard of him. Never? You got smoke in your ears? I don't know him. Funny. She knows you. Says you're saying she owes you some money. The bartender arrives, putting down a fresh cup of something that smells exceedingly flammable. You lean back a little. Laura picks up the cup, downs half of it in one swig, puts it back down. You wonder if it had a little something extra in it. Oh, the shorter side, curvy, wings, low horns on top. That's her. Goes Steph Maxora now, does she? What else did she tell you? She said you were blackmailing her. Said she wants you to leave her alone. Did she show you a blackmail note? Or have any proof that I was doing it? Or what I was supposed to be blackmailing her about? No. No. But like... we needed the money. Laura grins, a filthy, broken tooth grin. Thought so. I want you to come down here and make some trouble for me so I'd leave her alone, right? Or maybe she want you to sort me out good and proper in the alleyway, all quiet like. Something like that. You know, I didn't suck back the rest of the drink. Thought so. You here's our hired muscle? No, private detective. Even worse then. Listen, flappad. And listen good. That dame ain't getting blackmailed. Whoever she's mixed up in, I ain't the one causing her grief. Why she sent me after you then? Now you're asking the right questions. When I was working with her, she was going by Saxorus. Nope, Saxorius. Morta ups the empty cup with a claw. You get the hint and sickle, know the bartender. Doesn't that seem like something you should be asking her about? She's your client after all. Go home, detective. Or go talk to Saxorius. Maxora, whatever she calls herself now. Just leave me to my drinking. He looks down at the stained tabletop, its surface puddled with rainbow-like residue. And a word of advice, detective. Watch yourself around her. She may look sweet, but those claws are sharp. Getting up from the table, you nod to Rax, and make your way out into the other night. Staying right eyes you uncaringly as you emerge from the bar. You tip your hat as much as the horns allow and move into the street. So, Detective Karibara, your first night on the case and you found out what? What have we found out? Hello Katie, how are we? Yeah, this is Kaiju Noir. This is in the Queer Games bundle. It's 2 to 3 hours long depending on your reading speed, so probably like 6 for me. How are you doing? Yeah, no worries. You missed us playing a Flappy Bird typing game. So... And we played another visual novel, a wee short visual novel. But now we're on to this. Yeah, you gotta check it out. Gotta check them out. That's what Queer Games bundle time. Wait, listen, we've got so many good games in this. The bundle is definitely worth checking out if you can spare some coin for it. Oh gosh, can't trust either. Maxuro has told you little to nothing about the case despite eagerly retaining your services. Lord Ashtarak hasn't told you anything except that Maxora is hiding something, obviously not wanting to give anything away. I know, it's wild, isn't it? So many people are making their games work on mobiles just straight away. It's really good. I appreciate it. All you know is that there's more going on than a simple blackmail, and you're still on the case. Good thing you're being paid by the day. You can feel your bed calling to you. Best call it a night. You arrive at the hotel Maxora listed as her place of residence after filling Alex in on the previous night's encounters. So, what's the plan? Just go in there and demand the truth from Miss Maxora, tough cop style? I couldn't tough cop, but if someone was paying me to, I failed drama class. The building is old, but well maintained. Rough, clean stick? Nope, 0%. Ooh, very glad to see that. Rough, clean stone brick and an air of faded majesty in a near empty area of the city. At the front desk, you ask to ring up to Miss Maxora's room and let her know you've arrived. Time passes. Tucked into the corner of the room is a drink vending machine. You drop a coin in the slot and twist the knob. Have you picked up the bundle, Katie, to try out all the games? The machine grinds for a moment, then drops your coin into the return slot. Is that a Monster Mash? It's always empty. I don't think it's ever been refilled. Oh, what's been your favourite from what you've tried out? If I was a spiteful kind of kaiju, I'd hope something nasty happens to whoever's supposed to keep these things filled. Are you that kind of kaiju? I don't know. Ask me again in 10 minutes when I'm really thirsty. That says a lot about you, Detective. Mixora is standing more confidently than you'd seen in the office. Gone is the almost theatrical fragility of the night before. Wait, oh, quite a few people tried out Extreme after I played that. I didn't think it would. I didn't think that demo would do so well. I wasn't sure about showing it off on stream, but quite a few people picked it up for that, and I'm really glad to hear it. I also found out there's just a sprite that auto saves for you. There's not that much of me to know. Let's see you again, Miss Mixora. Please, Detective. Ask you to call me Max. No need for formalities here. Nice to... Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it's very much like Stimulate. Filling up that niche of foul brain. As you wish, Max, you're paying after all. On that note, there's some things I'd like to discuss with you in private. Is there somewhere we can talk? She motions to a couple of ancient lounge chairs in the corner. I'm one of the only residents staying in the hotel, and the clerk at the front desk is hard of hearing, so we should be able to talk here. As you wish. The pair of you take your seats. The surface words line of the meaning you have to find comfortable places for your tale. Been staying here long? Long enough. It's a decent place. Clean, quiet, out of the way. Sometimes you don't need anything fancy. I'm just surprised you aren't staying with your family. They live in the city. Are you investigating me now, Detective? Let's just call it professional curiosity. Us. Oh, PIs. I was like, please? Please? Us PIs get used to asking lots of questions. My family is always busy. As such, things can get a little hectic from time to time, so I come here once in a while for some peace and quiet. Any other questions you'd like to ask? Oh, sorry. Any other questions you'd like to ask, Detective? Or shall we get back to business? Business, of course. I encountered Lord Thrak last night. He seemed a bit unsettled, but I wonder if you know anything more about him. Not much, Detective. I've only met him once, and that was when he gave me the blackmail demand. The demand, of course. You wouldn't have it with you, would you? She looks suddenly taken aback. What do you mean? The demand, I'm assuming he gave you a note or something. Otherwise, how would you know how much and who to give it to? Sitting in silence, it's easy to see the different emotions flickering across her face. What aren't you telling me, Miss Mixora? In the distance you hear the cleric handing out keys to a resident, but the area around you remains in tense silence. I think it's about time you told me the truth, Mixora. Or should I call you Sixorius? He looks up, startled. Told you that name, huh? You nod. He told me a lot of things, including that you're not being honest with me, that this whole case is a ruse. I don't like being lied to, and I don't like not knowing what to call you. Keep calling me Max, Detective. I don't use that other name anymore. I guess you should tell me the truth now, shouldn't you? It's come to the truth already, has it? I could always go tell Laura where to find you, if you'd prefer. I really wish that damn vending machine was working. I need a drink. We could go somewhere. She shakes her head. Not in this part of the city. Or too public. Could you grab me some water though? There should be a jug on the counter. You stand, walk to the front desk, fill a couple of cups from the pitcher, nod to the clerk and return to Mixora, putting them on the table between you. Thank you, detective. Now, no doubt Laura told you more than just that name, correct? You nod again. He told you we've some history between us? That you work together, yes. What else did he tell you? What should he have told me, Max? Well, it's true that we work together. Laura and I were entrusted with the task of collecting a certain item. An artifact of considerable value that carried with it a considerable risk. And what item was that? Mixora picks up a glass and sips from it. Tell me, detective, have you ever heard of the Crimson Old One? The what? The Crimson Old One, an idol carved from a single giant ruby dug from the cavern that surrounds New Monstropolis by the first kaiju. It is said that the light that refracted from the ruby was enough to illuminate the world below, and that the first kaiju war was waged over who would claim it millennia before the humans climbed down from their trees. It's also said that those who would possess the Crimson Old One would reign over our kind until the end of days. But we live in a blatantly corrupt oligarchy and fuck. I can't see the big tusks up at City Hall giving up their seats to someone lugging a shiny rock around the city. You're right. Trying that would probably land you at the bottom of the lake without wearing a stone overcoat. So, why all the excitement over a shiny pebble? First, the Udo represents immense spiritual significance for many kaiju in the city. Second, it is historic value dating back hundreds of millennia. And finally, it's a giant ruby. Do you have any idea what that's worth to the right collector? And what do you have to do with that, with the rock? Well, I was supposed to be getting the idol into the city to sell on. Into the city? You mean it's been out there on the surface? Aren't the cities thick as you look, detective? Are you? You should see me solve a crossword puzzle. The statue has been traded, stolen, sold and killed for in the human world for thousands of years. I doubt even they know how long for or where it originated. So how do you track it down? Now that's something I don't know. The plan was Laura would track it down, I'd organise to get it past the gates, another colleague would make the sale to a collector, and we'd split the loot. What happened? I don't know. The idol was supposed to pass to me from my contact at the gate, only when I got there I'd heard he'd had an accident, and the idol was missing. One of those accidents where the folks just up and die? Exactly that kind. You pick up your cup and take a drink. So, why'd you up and run? I'd been paid an awful lot of money to get the idol into the city, most of which had gone towards bribes, storage, and my contacts in the human world. None of whom was prepared to work with a kaiju for cheap. If Laura thought I'd betrayed them, they would be after me. I had to make the first move. So, what do you plan to do now? Just wait here until it all blows over? No, detective. I plan to find out where the damn statue is, and finish this deal so I can get on with my life. So there's no blackmail case? No, never was. Fine, then my work is done on that matter. I'll let my assistant know when You can do you up a letter of completion and an invoice for services rendered. I'm sorry we couldn't make this work, and I'm sorry about the lies. Oh, sorry. Nope. I'm sorry we couldn't make this work, and I'm sorry about the lies. Is that everything, Detective? Not quite, Max. Now, you and I need to discuss another matter. What other matter? You just closed the case. You take another sip and say the words that will land you in more trouble than you could imagine. The matter of you hiring me to find that statue. She looks up, startled. You'd work for me, considering everything? I see it like this, Miss Mixora. Either you're lying to me again, in which case you'll keep paying me up until the point we both become too bored to carry on with this charade. Or you're telling the truth about being on the hunt for a missing cultural treasure of unmeasurable value that could make everyone involved filthy rich, in which case I want in. Also, I haven't had an interesting case in months and it sounds like it could be fun. Mixora sits with a cup and claw, no doubt thinking about ways to take control of the situation. Okay, Detective. What are your terms? 2 weeks retainer in advance. This is going to take up all my time and I will have an assistant to keep fed. Consider insurance, in case of any more unforeseen accidents. Oh? Don't you trust me, Detective? Don't you like me? I like you plenty, Max. But I don't trust you any more than I do most folks in this city. Maybe even less given the circumstances. Welcome back, Breezy. I hope your meeting went okay. I hope you didn't get kicked out of your laptop. That's fair enough. You've earned the right to be mistrustful of me. And if I say if the idol story is true, then I want 10% of the sale price. I don't care how you get that, whether it's from your share or split with others, call it a finder's fee. She looks directly into your eyes for a moment, sizing you up for haggling, but you don't waver. We have a deal today. I don't have the money on me right now for your retainer, but I'll have it sent to your office. Oh. Well, at least you could explain it. At least you could explain, but like, no, it's not just that I'm skipping. As you finish your water, the edge of the room starts to spin. Anyway, hopefully you can get it fixed up before your next one. Your heart starts racing, and Max slips in and out of focus. Shrug the drink. In all honesty, I'm sorry about this, Carrie. I didn't know if I could trust you. Not with my life on the line. Find the statue and you'll get everything that's coming to you. Start with Lord Detective. I'll be in touch. She leans in close and you can feel her icy breath in your ear. Follow the trail of the crimson. The gaping maw of oblivion swallows you whole. Waking with a start, you see the wary smile of the hotel clerk as they are gently shaking you. Miss Mixora said you needed some rest and not to wake you until she'd left. She didn't say you were such a heavy sleeper. You'll rub the bloodiest out of your eyes and look around. The clock in the corner showing 3 hours passed since you arrived. Where's Miss Mixora now? She checked out about an hour ago. Didn't leave a forwarding address. Never stays for long, but I'm always happy to see her. They smile and help you stand. She left a card for you, just a moment. You shuffle over to the desk and return, handing over a rectangle of white card with a crudely drawn picture of a squat creature in red ink. Always drawing that little fellow. I find a couple of these little cards in a room whenever I clean up. mascot or cartoon character maybe? Something like that. You turn the card over to see the words, "Find it, then find me, Max," written on the back. What else do you know about Miss Maxora? They give a happy shrug and I shamble behind their polished stone slab of a reception desk. Not a lot. At this hotel, we respect our residents' privacy and I make it a point to ask personal questions. But she's clean, keeps to herself, and tips well. All I could ask for in a resident. You flick the clerk a coin. You run a nice hotel. If Miss Maxora returns, please tell her I'll be in touch. You nod appreciatively, and you walk out into the city. Back in your office, Alex is standing behind his desk, looking furtive. You look upset. What happened? If we suddenly received a rather large sum of money through the mail slot, what would you say? I'd ask when we got a mail slot. Harry? Did such a thing happen? I'm not saying anything without a lawyer. You don't want a lawyer this time of night. They give you indigestion. Was this hypothetical sum of money enough to cover 2 weeks of work? He narrows his eyes. 2.5. I gather from your expression it was Miss Maxora. What do you want me to do with it? You laugh and lean against the door frame. Go get yourself that new sure, Alex. Miss Maxora turned out to be a bigger client than we expected. Oh, the tea kitty too. Oh, if there's anything left, take what I owe you in back pay. Are you sure? Yeah. Sorry. Are you sure? You didn't do anything illegal, did you? Like foolish illegal? Not yet, but I may have to. And I want to make sure you and I are square. Whatever you say, Carrie. I appreciate it. What happened at the hotel? You were gone for hours. You tell Alex the full story. Lore, the Crimson Old One, the tranquilizer in your drink. He nods along quietly without interrupting. It's a pretty fucked up situation. Not sure if I feel comfortable taking a case from someone who'd do that. Are you going to be okay? I'll be fine, just a little groggy. She'll be paying double for that little stunt though. You think she's telling the truth? Did drug you after all. If she isn't, she's willing to pay a lot to keep me around on the back of a lie. And if she's being honest? Highly doubtful. But in some mystery novel world where she's telling the truth, we get to track down an artifact of wealth beyond imagining and make a bucket of cash in the process. If you don't get killed while you're out there. What makes you think I'll get knocked off? You remember what happens to anyone who gets their paws on the treasure in those movies you're so fond of? Bang. One in the back in a dark alleyway somewhere. It's a damn massive ruby, Carrie. Do you really think they aren't those out there already dying for it? Oh, right. Accidents. Got any advice for me to avoid ending up like that? Aside from don't get killed, keep your eyes open and your snout out of the wrong places. Keen insight as ever. Well, I'm gonna go have a nap in my office. Still feeling a bit woozy. You like it? Why, that must be in one hell of a drink. Then what? Then I go have a chat to Lorethrak again. He might have a thread I can pull. How hard do you intend to pull? Hard enough that he answers my damn questions. Wake me in an hour. When you get back to the last sculpt, Brax is the only one there, sitting at the bar, a can in each hand, watching the Kaiju Wrestling League on the television. You take a seat beside him and grab a handful of bar snacks. One head looks up at you briefly and returns to the screen. You know what I love about Kaiju League? No drama like in the human fights. Turning to watch the screen, you see two powerfully built monsters tearing at each other with claw, tooth and tail. To be fair to the humans, they don't heal like most of us too squishy and soft. I have to make more of a show out of it. Rax laughs into one of his beers. True enough, they don't taste too bad either. Wouldn't know. I've never been outside the city. I like it down here. What do they like, the humans? Crunchy. He looks down in quiet thought for a moment. As bad as us, really. There's just more of them and they don't know when to quit. If you really want to meet one, go ahead, head down to the political district. I hear there's a few at the embassy. No thanks. I'd be too worried I'd step on them. I'll stick to seeing them in the films. He laughs and drinks out of both cans at once. Yeah, there's so much world building going on in this. For what is a reasonably short game. And let me check. Yeah, this does work. Run on Android as well. I don't know if it will run on Apple phones. The squish pretty good too. They never show that in the movies. Heck of a mess to clean up later though. On the screen, one of the wrestlers roars in victory while what's left of their opponent is dragged from the pit. That was brutal. Damn, as far as this stuff goes, no one dies in the KWL. Union rules. Maimed is fine, but you come out bravely. Rude Mom told me in the old days if you went into the pit, you came out a winner or in bits. She was one of the winners. Good old unions. Can't imagine how screwed this city would be without them. Even with the corruption, I'd rather hear them running things. You want a drink? Got some time before we open up. Give me a Monster Mash. Don't want anything stronger? No thanks. I don't drink booze. Makes me feel like shit. Also, I don't think you got much behind that bar that's less than 160 proof. Any of that gets near me, I'm likely to burn the place down. Fair enough. Folks here like to get drunk in a hurry. Them that can metabolize alcohol anyway. Can't blame them. He reaches over the bar, grabs your can, and goes back to watching the show. Looks like a highlight reel. Yeah, you back for another round in the ring with Lore? Yeah, got some follow-up questions for him. Maybe a swear word or two. He'll be here soon. He may be a mound of kaiju crap, but he's punctual with his drinking. You drink and watch the game. You never could get into the league fights. The site is violent enough without making a sport of it. Ooh. But let's find out a bit more about Alex. How do you know Alex? You two seem to have a bit of a history. You could say that. Not sure how much I can talk about. He and I were in the same attack wave during the war. He fought in the harbours, me in the cities. What a fucking mess that was. Not a lot of us left to remember those final days. I'm glad Alex made it back. He's a good kid. Should have been out there in the first place. He doesn't talk about it much. You never tell if he wants to talk or just wants to forget. Both probably. Shit like that doesn't just go away. He sighs and sags a little. Sorry, talking is tough. Bartenders listen. We don't talk a lot. Comes with the territory. I appreciate you telling me. Rax sets both empty cans down and turns her head to you. Did you mean it when you said you were a good detective? I never said I was good, but I don't know anyone better. Maybe that I'm the only one around. Is that good enough? I'll do. You said you're on a case. Would you have a problem with taking on a second? As long as they don't conflict, I've got some flexibility. What's the case? I need you to find my sister. Doesn't seem a difficult job. Just stick up a few missing kaiju flyers. Why ask me? Because it's not that simple, detective. Alex says you're good at the delicate stuff, if you catch my drift. And I trust him. I also don't trust the cops for obvious reasons. When I lost contact with her, we were both very different kaiju. We all change Rax. Detective. Call me Carrie. Carrie. Sorry, I'm not used to talking about this stuff. This doesn't leave this room. He takes a deep breath. Something two heads are able to do particularly well. When I shipped out, she was just starting her transition. Hadn't even chosen her name yet. Oh, fuck. Yeah, oh fuck. I left and didn't get to tell her I loved her before they herded us out the gates to fight. Fuck, that's rough. Taking 2 more cans from behind the bar, he opens them in the teeth of one jaw. Damn rough. So, I don't have a name, not only not one she'd go by now, don't know what she looks like, and I don't know where to start. They both drink in silence for a few minutes. I'll take the case. This one hits a bit close to home, so I'll do it with no charge. I ain't gonna ask you to do this for nothing. Don't sweat it. My other case is paying more than enough to cover my time. If you want to pay, then set me up with a tab at the bar. If I find her, scrub the tab. If I don't, I'll settle it next week. It's cows at the compromise. Typical kaiju stubbornness. You think you can find her that fast? I've been looking for years. You'd be amazed what I can do when I start poking around. So, what do you have that I can work with? I can't exactly just go around the city sticking up wanted signs for trans kaiju that were separated from their family during the war. And yet I'd need Alex at the door just to hold back the queue. Damn humans. You know, we didn't have to think about gender bullshit till they came along. We were just monsters. Tell me about it. Of all the social construct traps we had to pick up from them, that has to be the weirdest. Capitalism was a pretty bad idea too. Anyway, I don't have much to go on. If I did, I'd have found her by now. But if you find her, please give her this. And for a carved green stone and a strand of scale hide. You know what it means. Not much to go on. No name, no description, just a necklace. Now you know how I feel. More than you know, Rax. The television program finishes and you're glad you can't hear the obnoxious advertisements over the bar's music. It's about time folks we'll start lumbering in. I should get to work. He downs both cans, throws them into the bin along with your empty drink, and stomps around behind the bar. What about your family? We don't have much. Not what you'd call real family. You know how it goes. All too well. I'll have a talk to Alex, and we'll see what we can think up. He's a smart one. What do you do then? Ask her taking questions and look good in a hat. Rax nods and starts serving the slow trickle of customers coming up for drinks. About 20 minutes later, Lor stomps through the door and towards his regular table. There's your boy. Push your friend from hitting him with a chair without letting me know first. So I can get a good view. Thanks. You give me as usual? Rax pours out a cup of something smelling like industrial solvent. One head looking ready to spit, thinking better of it, and hands it over. Good luck, Slick. You walk over to Lor's table and place the cup in front of him. Lor, well, surprised seeing you here. Thought you'd be thirsty, so I brought you a drink. What you want, Flatball? Can you leave me in peace? Have you considered that just like annoying? Sorry. Have you considered that just like annoying you, Lor? Maybe me sitting here pissing you off gives my life some kind of joy it usually lacks. Look, I like drinking here more than I like the idea of biting your face off. So I'd pay to see you thrown out of here. Good thing you're not paying then, isn't it? Now, drink your damn sludge. What are you being paid for then? I already told you I ain't blackmailing anyone. Knowing you know anyway. Go talk to the dame and leave me the hell alone. Oh, I did talk to her. I had a good long talk before she slipped me some knockout drops. She told me about how you two work together and how you're looking for a certain object. You're just a dame who drugged your drink. Not a bright one, are you? Or sniffs at the future's liquid in his cup, downs most in one gulp, and coughs wretchedly. You drink slower. That crap can't be good for you. Shut up, Flaphole. Did she tell you where it is? Can I unshut it long enough to tell you? She doesn't have it. Says her courier died before they can make the handover. It's hired me to find it. Hired you over for money? A polite monster never asks. But well, she's got her claws and cash on you, so I must still want to find the idol. Maybe the dame didn't cheat us after all. Can't tell you that for sure, Lore. Contrary to what you think, I tend to not trust Kaiju who drugged me. That's a good instinct. So what's the plan, Flatpaw? How do you plan to find our property? Same way I'm doing here. Such a good job annoying you by asking a lot of questions. You're good at that, at least. Thank you. I make sure to practice in the mirror every morning. Sometimes I ask myself questions so abrasive I even shock myself. I would believe that. You seem like sort of kaiju that could piss off a stone wall. So tell me, Lore, how many kaiju know about the idol, aside from you, like Sora and I? What do you want to know? I mean, you've been screwed, mate. Because one of them screwed you, it's pretty obvious. Or we wouldn't be sitting here right now. I can't imagine our devil had a large team, so I want to know who else is involved. How'd you figure that? Because if Maxora had stolen the goods, she'd be out on her wings to cash in. If you nabbed it, you wouldn't be in this whole getting wasted on what I can only guess is industrial solvent. And if your other partner had it, they would have paid you off by now. He looks into the dregs of his cup and swirls it around. You got me there. There's someone else involved. Our backer. I figured you weren't the brains behind all this. Who are they? Can't tell you. I like their privacy. I sadly blame them considering the trouble that rock has caused. A rock worth several fortunes. Fortunes aren't worth shit when you're dead. Ain't a lot of us get to come back after we take the fall. Still, someone has to have known about the deal. Max is too personally invested to let something like this go tail up. You put too much faith in that dame. In this city, you gotta put your faith in something. I put mine in money, which she's paying me a reasonable amount of. And if I could get you more than she's paid, a lot more, what would I do with it? I already have a nice coat. If I help find the rock, I'll have enough to never have to worry about rent ever again. If I don't find it, I at least have enough to get myself a new hat. Most things aren't cheap. Besides, I have a rule. No conflicting cases. My assistant would never let me hear the end of it. He traces some of the spilled liquid over the tabletop floor, its surface rainbow hued in the low light. Then what's your plan? I know it's so hard when you keep buying expensive hats. You don't even go for the cheap ones after, like you've learned your lesson. Then what's your plan? Start turning over rocks until you find a red one? Rather than that, yeah, you get me a meeting with him for his back in scavenger hunt. There's too many questions, I need a few of them answered. Hold on, I need a break. Sorry, my voice was short. Oh, there we go. Yeah, sorry, my voice got pretty short there. There's too many questions, and I need a few of them answered. I try. Can't promise it. I can't do any of the voices now because I'm resting my voice for 5 seconds. I'll try. Can't promise I'll talk to you. Tell them if they want their shiny pebble, they will talk to me. The longer they wait, the harder it'll be to get the thing back. Write down your office address on a stained napkin. When you arrange a time, here's my address. Business hours only, please. Lord skewers the napkin onto a leg's spine and finishes his drink. Thanks for the drink, detective. Thanks for the chat, Lore. You've been charming as always. I'll see you when I see you. On the way out, you tip your hat to Rax and I head back to the office. Hopefully Alex hasn't headed home yet. You've a lot to catch him up on. Yeah, taking some sippies. So now you have 2 cases. What the hell were you thinking? Find a lump of rock that might not even exist and track down someone without even a name or appearance to go off. That's why I don't let you go out out to bars anymore. You always come back with the worst cases. Kind of impressive since I don't even drink, right? Don't blame me for some reason. Don't blame me. For some reason, Kaiju keep telling me that the problems, expecting me to solve them. You'd think I was a private detective or something. What happened this week, Carrie? Everything was so quiet. How did we end up in a mystery novel? Karmic build-up? Maybe the universe just decided to start throwing rocks. At least one of the rocks is worth a giant pile of cash. Wrong word. Giant pile of cash free for us. Speaking of cash, why don't you ask for payment on Rax's case? He's good for it. Look at Alex over your tea. Yeah, you and I have been in similar situations. I remember how shit things got when you came out, and I didn't fare much better. I couldn't stick a price tag on this kid getting a little happiness back after all he's been through. He looks down into his mug, it bubbles back at him. Fair, it's not like we need the money right now. Right, we can afford a little pro bono for a barkeeping need. Prepare a few drinking silence for a while. So what the heck do we do? We haven't got any leads on either case. Pulling the pendant from your coat, you hand it over. Alex puts down his mug and examines it closely. This is the only lead Rax has? You nod. No clue what it can mean. Probably just some family thing. It's sure a look. Like, you know, I'm dressing for work. I only. Everything else, don't need it. So I guess Carrie is also just wearing a jacket and a hat. So everyone is naked. And I'm pretty certain Max is completely naked. But I'm pulling up her picture to make sure. Yeah, Max is completely naked except for a necklace. So like, Alex holds the stone closer to each eye in turn. I've seen this somewhere, this pattern here. He holds out the stone and indicates to a pattern of swirls that on close examination look like eyes curled in on themselves. Seriously? Can you remember where? Wanting to look at it again, he shakes his head. No, it was brief, only for a moment. Try to remember. I don't care if it was graffiti on the side of a building or something you saw in a movie. Anything will help right now. Exactly. And I feel it's probably very difficult to get clues as a kaiju. And the other case? Wait for a message from Laura. If I can't meet the bankroller, we don't have all the actors in this little play. I don't like being left out cold in the middle of a case, even if I'm bundled up in cash. And what if he doesn't call? Then we go door to door, asking if anyone has a giant ruby in their basement. If you have a giant ruby in the basement, would you own up to someone came looking? I didn't say it was a good plan, but it's better than sitting on my tail waiting for the Aito to knock on the front door. The front door shakes under tremendous knocking. Quick, say something about us getting $1 million. Not like someone is knocking at the door waiting to give us $1 million. Thump repeats, louder. Alex opens the door and Detective Inspector Carla Zora walks in. She doesn't look happy, nor does she carry anything resembling either a statue or a large amount of money. Detective Inspector Carla Zora, you're looking positively brutalist tonight. to fix you for practice scowl you've come to know and love. I see you're still pretending to smoke those human cigarettes, Carrie. You aren't fooling anyone, you know. I think it makes me look dashing. And to what do we owe the pleasure of your company? This isn't a social call. Is it ever? That time in the red light district? I was investigating for a divorce hearing. You served me off a cease and desist notice. And wasn't that fun and social? I had to go to the courthouse to get it lifted. That was not fun. Alex stands in the corner, grinning widely. So what's the buzz? Come scroll me for walking the wrong side of the footpath? You know someone named Laura Thrack? Yeah, you get a sinking feeling in the pits of your stomach. And you describe them. Short, spiky, reeks of industrial waste. I may know them. Why? Because he was found dead an hour ago. The boys just dragged him out of the lake. Shit. And you've come to interrogate me about it because he was holding an envelope with your name on it. Some of us in the force consider that sort of thing to be a little suspicious. You cops think everything's suspicious. If you saw someone who wasn't a cop eating a donut, you'd start questioning them about where they got it. May I have the note? It's evidence. Are you going to tell me what case you're working on? Which one? I'm on a couple right now. The one involving the Steph on his way to the morgue. Professional confidentiality, I'm afraid. I saw Laura at the last gulp yesterday. It was fine as far as I could tell, on his way to getting drunk or drunker, but very much alive. Anyone able to corroborate that? Rax down at the gulp. You and I were talking about a separate case, missing Kaiju. Why didn't you come to the station if it's just a missing Kaiju? Sensitive kind of missing Kaiju case. I'd rather not draw you a picture, detective. The pair of you stare at each other for a long minute in silence. Collars over breaks first and hands you a still damp envelope. Girl? That's evidence. We just handing evidence out? Don't tamper with it. I ain't got standards. Thanks. The seal already broken. Don't you know it's illegal to tamper with the post? We don't have a postal system, Carrie, and this is evidence. Right? It's like, thank you, Detective Gumshoe. I appreciate it. The paper inside the envelope is mostly dry. On it you can read scrawled address in an upmarket district and a time later tonight. You want to tell me about that? It's cryptic even for you. You hand the letter to Alex. A contact on another case. Nothing special. Nothing special. Someone we just had to fish out of the wharf has a letter addressed to you, clutched in their fist, and it wasn't anything special. One of those weird coincidences, I'm gonna tell you. You have any suspects? Aside from me, of course. Carlozora sags slightly against the doorway. Aside from you, the only Kaiju has had recent contact with the deceased Rax alone at the last gulp. Our staff was a loner, no associates or contacts aside from you and Rax. We have a mystery as they sound like the type who would have come to our attention. And that's not the kind of attack you see from an unpaid bar tab. He was found in the lake with his throat slashed. Still had cash on him, and no one had touched his jewellery. No way to go. I've seen worse. Usually murders have had more of a point though. This wasn't a mugging, and it was too sloppy to be a professional hit. Anyway, if you can't help me, she'll leave the sentence hanging and glares intently at you. Then I need to get back to the office and write up my report about the evidence that's mysteriously just gone missing. Unexplained kaiju side isn't exactly rare, but it still doesn't look good for the department. You should go get that drink. We should go get that drink together one of these days, Carla. I'd like that, Carrie. Maybe when we both learn to relax enough to leave our work behind. That could take a while. Strange things have happened. That time we were working on the double kidnapping case that was just cover for the mayor's children running away, for example. Don't remind me. I still get nightmares about that mess. I never did find all the bits. We got the kids back safe though. Just don't do anything foolish, Carrie. Alex, please stop it. Alex, please stop them before we... Blah, 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 blah. Blah. Alex, please stop them from getting themselves killed. Can't promise anything. You know how they are. Blah, but Jesus. Maybe I can get another break. Can't promise anything. You know how they can be. Look after yourself, Detective Inspector. She walks out, slamming the door behind her in a way that is uniquely Carla. Your cup nearly rattles off the desk. Can't believe you two used to date. That was a long time ago. Before she became a cop. No, I'm not going to say that was my worst breakup, but it was definitely the loudest. Oh, you regret it? What we had, not all. She was my first ace relationship, and it was what I needed in my life at the time. Then she signed up to be a thug for the city, and that sort of thing kills a romantic mood. You're a weird monster. True, but I'm a weird monster with a lead. And a dead contact. Oh, and you're the key suspect in the murder of that contact. No doubt. Carla is polite, but she's not clueless. I'll have to keep an eye out for tails when I head out. Look, I'm not happy Laura's dead. He was an asshole, but that doesn't mean he deserves to end up in the lake. Who do you think killed him? Whoever doesn't want us to find that rock. And what do we do about it? Simple. We find the rock. Oh, that was a nice reading, and it's the wrong sentence. Simple. We find the rock that they don't want us to find. How are you planning on doing that if it's so simple? By following the money, my dear Alex. Follow the money. And not getting killed in the process of following it, I hope. And not getting killed in the process of following it, I hope. Then we find the rock. No further questions, Your Honor. Which rock? The rock. That's the idea. Even my paws crossed that I don't end up going for a swim myself. What about Rax's case? The missing sister? What about it? We can't just show off that pendant to every kaiju in the city hoping to get a response. we find Dwayne The Rock Johnson and he will help us. He can be your human contact in finding this. Either Rax gives us more to work with, or you remember where you've seen that design. Or we randomly bump into someone street holding a looking for my brother sign. None of that sound hopeful. I'll make a sketch of the design. Maybe it'll help me remember that, then you can take it back. Thanks, Alex. I appreciate the help. And I appreciate new office furniture. Speaking of which, my new chair is getting delivered tomorrow. Can't wait to see it. I bet it'll be glorious. Just something more appropriate for me to park my scales. You deserve it. He waves you away. You best get moving. The note says you need to be over for another side of city in an hour. Stay safe out there, Carrie. I mean it. Whoever knocked off Laura means business. I'll keep my eyes open and stay away from open bodies of water. You just make sure the lights stay on. I'll do my best. You always do. It's late evening in the Undercity, and the crystals that illuminate the city, charged with thermal radiation of the outside world, are already beginning to dim. Only the essential stones, locally known as Silas balls, maintain their pale blue glow throughout the night, lengthening shadows and casting most of the city into gloom. The central hub of the city, where the most affluent kaiju build their mansions of so and get the best of the light. Compared to the dingy district where you'd set up your office, it was almost like a walk. It was almost like walking under the sun itself, or so you imagine. Even the light we get is secondhand. Hard to imagine living somewhere that's not always in shadow. The note that from Lord directs you to the front gate of a particularly discreet house on one of the gaudiest streets you've ever seen. While other houses flaunted wealth, mimicking ostentatious human styles scaled up to kaiju sizes, this one is a simple box of stone. Still big though, upscale to living for a kaiju who keeps a tight claw on their money. You pull the heavy chain beside the gate. Minutes pass until a voice, croaky and uncaring, echoes out for a speaking tube. No soliciting, proselytizing or political campaigning. Whatever it is you're selling, I don't want any. Damn, just like my Twitter DMs. You lean in close to the tube and clear your throat. I'm not selling anything. I was told to come here by the late Lorathrak about a business matter. Response takes another minute to return. The late Lorathrak? You didn't hear? There was another unfortunate incident, and regrettably Laura is no longer with us. Another long pause. You'd best come in. The gate buzzes and opens with a heavy click. You straighten your hat and put on your most deadpan expression and head through the gate towards the Stark mansion. The door is opened by an older kaiju in a smart bow tie and a grim expression. You would be the detective Laura spoke of, correct? If I'm not, then I need to take the name off my office door. They narrow their eyes, clearly not impressed. Yes, I am the detective. Haribara is my full name. And my name is Xandron. You may call me Xander. Is that your real name? No, but it'll do for the time being. You're quick off the mark with your questions, detective. If I don't keep asking questions, I'm afraid I might explode with curiosity. A dangerous habit in this city. Would you rather have stopped? I can probably hold off a vigorous inquiry for a few minutes. I wouldn't dream of it. I so rarely get visitors, even impertinent ones such as yourself. Then I shall continue with my impertinence. Do so. It'll be a nice change from talking to myself. Xander leads you to the drawing room, old furniture and low lighting. This is a big place. You don't have any help? Gesturing for you to sit down, Sandra lowers themselves onto a chair, tentacles wrapping into time-worn grooves in the stone. Right, everyone's so snippy in my noir story. Yes, it's the detective style. Good help, is it? Hard to find, detective. Besides, I don't need much to keep this little home of mine ticking along. Little? This room is bigger than my whole office. I'd get lost trying to find the bathroom. But I didn't come to compare domestic arrangements. Of course. Poor Laura, rest his hide. Said you wished to discuss a delicate matter. I must say, you don't seem particularly shaken by his loss. After your first few centuries, you start to learn how fragile life is. None of us last forever. I will miss him though. Would you at least do me the courtesy of telling me how he met his end? Only learned about it an hour ago. He was found in the lake with a slit throat. was not so delicately, Detective. You didn't ask for delicate, Xander. No. I didn't, did I? Laura was my friend. The last few hundred years or so, I wish she could have met a nicer end. There was definitely better ways to go. That's the undeniable truth. The police don't have any leads, no surprises there. Do you have any idea who could have done it? Someone with a grudge. Old ones. I know he made enough enemies in life. A coincidence you should mention the old ones. You know, of course, why I arranged this meeting. The stone, yes. An object of immense value and importance, seeped in mystery, stained with the deaths of many. And something you would quite like to get your tentacles on. Oh, Detective! You have no idea how much I covet that idol. Oh. The monetary value alone makes it an object of true desire. The intrigue it's cloaked in only makes me want it more. And it was Laura's job to get it for you. Sandra lets out a ragged laugh. Not quite. Laura was far from the diplomatic sort, and wouldn't have been able to obtain it himself. He was a surprisingly good tracker though, once he had the scent. I'd given him the job of locating the idol and acquiring the services to get into the city, which is where my case aligns with your quest. And then what happened? I wish I knew, Detective. I provided a significant sum of money to fund him. Next thing, he tells me the artifact is gone along with the hired importer. If it weren't for the fact that I spent most of my considerable life trying to obtain the statue, I would have written it off as a loss. Maybe I'm just a victim of sunk cost fallacy, but I can't bear the thought of giving up the chase this late in the game. So I'm guessing you'd be quite interested in getting your tentacles on the rock. More than you could possibly imagine, Detective. Though there are a few things in this life I desire as much as the idol. And it's lucky for you that I'm on the case to find it. You were the professional Laura hired for the job? I'm afraid it's rather more complicated than that. He fills Xander in on the case so far, leaving out the drugging in the hotel and the missing Maxora. So you would be what exactly? A subcontractor? Here to clean up the mess? Something like that. You want the rock, I want to get paid. Maxora wants to clear her name. And Laura died not long after you took the case. That does look highly suspicious. Unfortunately, it doesn't look good for me, especially when the police turn up on my doorstep with a blood-stained envelope with my name on it. Which is why it doesn't feel like this was just some random kaiju side. In this job, you learn not to trust coincidences. You may have a point, Detective. Do you want to know what history has to say about the idol? I have a feeling you're going to tell me whether I say yes or no. Maxora said it was something about whomever as the rock gets to rule, something like that. In effect, although the history is more oral and pictograms, enough of it has survived to tell the story. And in the final days of our kind, a stone of blood shall hold the key to our survival. Guard it well, and the power within shall lead us into the future. And do you believe all that, Xander? A magic stone of power waiting for someone to grab it? What I believe is immaterial, child. I've devoted a significant portion of my life to acquiring it. That's all you need to know. In this world, if you have fought for something this long, you don't simply stop wanting it because it's a challenge. You want it more. So the question is, who else knows? Maxora says the only kaiju she told was her contact, who was delivering the idol, and they mysteriously died too. Laura assumed Laura assured me that it was on that he. Bleh. Let's go again. Laura assured me that he only went for Maxora. How he met her, I don't know. So that's another dead end. No pun intended. That was poor taste, detective. That means that one of you three spilled their guts. If you're making those morbid puns intentionally, they are not appreciated. Sorry. So, someone knew about the trade-off when the idol was to cross the gates, and they knew that Laura was the go-between for the three of you. Who else knows? One of you isn't telling the whole story, and now I'm one less kaiju to interrogate. What makes you so sure that it's not this Maxora giving you the runaround? Because she's scared shitless right now. Pardon my language. She thought Laura was coming after her when the deal went for south, and I don't blame her. So tell me, Xander, who else knows? Who wants a Crimson Old One and is prepared to kill for it? I don't like seeing folks end up in the lake, even if they have been impolite to me. The room is silent except for the crackling fire in the hearth. The room is. Oh, come on, click. This isn't the first time I've gone after the idol. You've been after it a long time, you said. Correct. And in that time, I've dealt with some rather unscrupulous creatures. Ones who thought I thought I'd parted ways with many years ago. Ones who might have wanted the statue as much as you. Detective, let me be direct. No one wants that statue more than I. And yes, there are those who covet the prize also, but be it out of greed or spite. You know Laura was. Did they know Laura was involved? Probable. Laura was my friend. I was known to a few kaiju, maybe my only friend. He was around for several of my attempts to retrieve the idol. You tap your claws on the arm of the chair. Who's left, Xander? Out of all the bastards you've worked with before, which of them are still alive and would go for some magic rock? Who wants it bad enough? The hunched figure sits nearly motionless in their chair, staring into the fireplace. Eventually, they look up, their faces contorted in frustration. Onikogo. Who? Onikogo. An old associate of mine. They were with me when I first went after the idol, back when I didn't have two rocks to rub together. She and I never quite saw eye to eye around the methods that were acceptable to get hold of the old one. As such, our relationship soured somewhat. You mean she would have killed to get it? The very least, detective. Onikogo comes from a position of some great privilege. As such, she doesn't put much of a value on those she sees as inferior. Unlike you. I mean, look at this place. You gesture around at the huge house and lavish furnishings. My current financial situation is not a point of debate here, detective. Xander's voice drops into the drawl of the street, although from several centuries past. But I'll have you know, I clawed myself up from the gutter to get here, and while you're guessing this house, you'd better make assumptions. Straining up, Xander returns to their calm demeanour. My apologies. I let my tongue get the better of me sometimes. So that's Onikogo. They're still around? Oh, undoubtedly. Money has a habit of keeping rotten fruit on the vine. You know where I can find her? I might have to go pay her a little social call. I wouldn't advise that, detective. Why is that? Don't think I'd fit into high society? Honestly, no. I also don't think it would be good for your health. You think Onikogo would kill me for asking where the rock is? Of course not. Onikogo isn't the type to get her hands dirty. Okay then, what? I think she would have someone else kill you. Quickly and quietly, in a way much like our departed colleague Lore. That kind of character? Most definitely. Onikogo wouldn't have touched anyone to do with this endeavour, but she has her claws curled tightly around many of the size strings. Oh. If you decide to pursue this fool's errand, I won't stop you. I want that idol, and Onikogo and Onikogo most likely has secrets in her hoard. But if she does have it, then you're highly unlikely to get your paws on it without great personal risk. I'm on this case, Sander. I can't just abandon it because it's dangerous. If I quit now, I'd not only be letting Maxora and yourself down, but myself too. You'd put yourself in harm's way in principle. It wouldn't be the first time. Hopefully it won't be the last. Sander stands and you follow suit. They extend a tentacle and you shake it. Then you're a braver monster than I. Whether you choose to go after the idol or not, please tell Maxora that she is in no danger from me. I consider the date moot, considering the circumstances. They reach down into a small box by the chair, flip through the cards inside, and pull out a rather old and ornately decorated card. Onikogo's address. If they are within the city limits, this is where she will be, along with my personal seal. You take the card and slip it into your pocket. Gold leaf flakes off under your claws. Thank you for your time, Xander. I appreciate you meeting me under these conditions, and I am sorry about what happened to your friend. If you hear from me again, I'll be returning for my cut of the sale. And if I don't hear from you, then throw a flower into the lake for me. That's probably where I'll be sleeping. Morbid. You make a good writer. I tried writing once, just couldn't find the words. When you open the door to your office the next night, Alex is sitting at his desk, grinning excitedly. You look very proud of yourself. Why is you so excited? He put his hands on the arms of his chair and swivels. A swivel chair? Where under Scylla's glowing balls did you get hold of a swivel chair that will hold your scaly arse? It's the newest thing. Something about old human industrial equipment. I think that this thing started life as a crane for shipping containers. You stand there stunned in stunned silence as you watch Alex swivel a full 360, the chair under him groaning mechanically. This may be the greatest technological achievement ever. You deserve nothing less. Thanks, Carrie. I'll never ask for anything ever again. Was not much, did it? It swivels, Carrie. It fucking swivels. You can't help but laugh at Alex's amusement. It's been too long since you saw him so happy. When you're done swiveling, I've got some news about the case. Good news or bad news? It swivels. It depends on how much you like having me around. Tell Alex about the meeting with Xander. His grin fades into a smile, then to a frown. And that's the whole thing. Maxora is off the hook with a knob who probably has a rock and isn't afraid to knock off anyone who gets in the way. as well as an old street monster who is happy to pay a bundle for the rock if we manage to get our paws on it. You aren't going, are you? Of course I am. I've been paid to get that damn statue, so I'm going to get it. You've known me for how long, Alex? How many times have I quit halfway through a job? Alex starts counting on his claws. A divorce case last year. Conflict of interest. Lost pet 6 months ago. You know I'm allergic to those things. My ears kept coming out in a rash. That thing you and Carla Zora never talk about? We don't talk about that. One time you had a cramp that just wouldn't go away, so you told me to... Okay. Damn, you're persistent. That's why you hired me. Want the truth? I'm tired of not being able to pay you. I'm tired of barely being able to cover the rent on this place or putting food on the table. In this case, if this case goes to term, we have that. We never have to worry about money again. Imagine being able to pick cases we want to follow, not because we have to. We have the money Max Zora gave us. That should cover us for a few weeks. And then what? Hope we get another hope we get another lost lizard dog before the repo squad turns up to take your chair. It's just a chair. We'll survive, Carrie. We always do. I don't want us to just survive. Deserve more than that. We both do. So, this isn't all about you having a thing for Max Zora. Just start counting on your own claws. First, she drugged me. Second, I'm not really attracted to anyone these days. Third, she drugged me. And fourth, I don't date clients. You dated Carla Zora. She wasn't my client at the time. She also didn't try to drug me. She did dang me out of first story window, but that was entirely consensual. Alex laughs. Whatever you say, boss. There's nothing I can do to call you off this one, is there? Not this time. Gotta see it through and hope I make it to the end credits. You're the densest kaiju I know. But I have your back no matter what. We're partners. Appreciated, but hopefully unnecessary. Before you throw yourself into Leviathan's den, I wanted to talk to you about something. Alex dangles the pendant sketch from a claw. I think I remember where I saw this before. You did? Well, don't keep me hanging. It would be nice to close off that case so we don't have to have that looming over us too. I can't say that yet. I can't say yet. Not until I'm sure. My memory's good, but it was only one glimpse. So, what do we do about it? It's not exactly subtle to ask someone if they happen to have a long-lost brother and would they like to meet them. And even when we do know for sure, it's something we have to be careful handling. We both know how rough that sort of revelation can be. I'll let you know when I'm certain. Alex puts the sketch back on the desk. You'll sort it out, Carrie. If anyone can find just the wrong way to do this, it's you. You're always so reassuring, Alex. I don't know what I'd do without you. He shrugs and starts swaffling again. You'd probably be dead. Thanks for the chair. It really means a lot to me. You want to see me spin again? When Nicole goes residence turns out to be a long walk from the office. Through the ancient twisting streets of a new Monstropolis. The address Sand directed you to is in the Behemoth's arms, within the internal ring of old stone mansions and offices that serve to house the aristocracy in a political heart of the city. And until someone invents a car that can fit your average kaiju, it gives you a long time to think as you trudge through a strata of the city towards the glow of Zilla's balls. Number 1. What the hell am I doing out here alone? Maybe I should have brought Alex along as backup. Last one. If I make it out of the alive, I'm taking a long holiday. Get out of sight for a few weeks. I heard the magma lakes are beautiful this time of year. I'm chasing after a shiny rock to clear the name of a dame of what? Some sense of justice? No justice in this sight. I think it's for the money. I think we're doing it for the money. This really isn't where I saw myself when I started this gig. Never trust human films. I lie. I swear, if this idol turns out to be made of lead, I quit. What the fuck am I doing? I'm going to get myself get killed. That's if this Onikogo even decides to see me. You arrive at the address on the Xander's card, and I look up at the bulk of the behemoth's arms. The first apartment building in the city, and by far the most gaudy. Drawing the calling card to the stoic door monster gives you a quick nod and directions to the penthouse suite. The building is affluent enough to even have a kaiju-sized elevator, though no doubt by some underpaid slob on a treadmill. You can hear the chains rattling as the elevator rises ponderously to the top floor. These knobs sure know how to live. With a thud, the lift settles to a stop. A short hallway adorned with intricate carvings leads to a double door that probably costs more than everything you own combined. With an only slightly shaking claw, you lift the door knocker and bring it down sharply on the brass plates 3 times. The sound bounces off the walls like echoes in a long-forgotten cave. Ominous. As the echo dies away, the door creaks open and a creature that could only be the butler looks down on you with utter contempt. Whatever you're selling, we don't want any. Madame is not at home to travelling preachers, nor does she wish to adopt any orphans. Good evening. You attempt to slam the door in a butlery way, but you slide your foot in to block them. I'm not here to sell or preach, but I do have business with Madame Onikogo. Please tell her I'm a friend of an old friend. You dangle the name card in front of the butler's face until they snatch it away, kicks your foot away and slams the door. Charming, these rich folk. Several minutes pass before the butler opens the door again and beckons you in with a disgruntled wave. Issuing you into well-lit and richly decorated sitting room, they indicate an ornately carved bench and abandon you in the guilt and splendour. The view over the city is incredible if that's what you're into. From here it's just shades of grey vanishing into the distance. Oh, Alex, what have I gotten myself into this time? Despite the room's primary aesthetic being something akin to a wealthy dragon's parlour, it lacks the crimson glint of a giant ruby statue. So much for hoping that things would be easy. When you get to my age, detective, you learn that few things are truly easy. Trying to face the figure in the doorway, you manage to avoid knocking over a priceless vase with your tail by a matter of inches. She stands in the doorway, call for a city kaiju, her wingtips and horns nearly scraping the high ceiling. Would it be right in guessing you're Madame Onikogo? With observation skills like that, you must be a detective. Only as a profession. In my spare time, I collect stamps. Would you like to see my collection? She scowls, massive teeth laid bare. In person too, I see. My butler said you're an acquaintance of Sandron. How is the old trilobite? They're fine. They send their warmest regards. I doubt they sent anything of the sort. Do you mind if I take a seat? It's rather a long walk from my office. By all means, sit wherever you please. Just please refrain from breaking anything. You settle on a bench placed conveniently distant from anything fragile. So, you know my name. I don't know yours, nor do I know why you're here. You will do me the service of amending this imbalance. Detective Karibara. I've been advised that you might be able to assist me in a case I'm working on. We don't get a lot of cats caught up trees or adulterous partners here, Detective. So I don't know what I could help you with. That remains to be seen. How well do you know Xander? She sits across from you in an ornate chair that seems carved specifically for her size, wings tucked neatly behind her. From a side table, she raises a crystal goblet and takes a sip. Can I offer you a drink, Detective? No thank you. I'm a bit hesitant to accept drinks lately. As you wish. I've known Xander ever since they were a youth. Poor thing was living in the gutters, so I gave them a little work here and there. I must say, they have elevated themselves admirably. Born to a terrible brood, but far from worthless. And when was the last time you talked? Sipping slowly, Onikogo swirls her cup and looks down at you in judgment. Many years ago, perhaps a century or more? We'd had rather the falling out over some trifling matter, and I felt it proper that we maintained some distance. Did it have anything to do with the idol? She stiffens at the mention of the word. Which idol would that be, Detective? I'm rather a collector of fine arts. My family owns the largest museum in the city. We have several thousand idols, statues, and carvings. It's so hard to keep track of any one piece. Of course, it must be difficult to keep up when you own so much while others have so little. A real emotional strain, I'm sure. You can see the corner of her mouth twitch in a snarl, just for a moment. The idol I'm speaking of would be something you'd remember though. Aim for one so endowed as yourself. Oh, you intrigue me, Detective. Please, describe this item that you believe so strongly I would remember. Big, red, kaiju shaped, probably has some kind of prophecy taped to it. Would have been a recent acquisition. Onikogo wraps her talons across the arm of the chair. I may know such an artifact, although of course my artistic acquisitions are not a public matter. Of course they aren't. First thought. What business would it be of yours then? I wouldn't think such a thing would be of interest to a street sleuth. Are you an art collector too, Detective? I'm going to lay my cards straight. Not so much. My partner collects industrial equipment. I'm too clumsy to handle the delicate stuff. Is that so? Unfortunately, I can't seem to stop myself from stumbling across things I shouldn't. I tend to make a bit of a mess. If you stumble across my threshold in order to make such a mess, you'd stumble your way out again. Don't you worry, the only something I intend to do is on course to find a rather large ruby statue of the antique variety. I thought you weren't a collector, Detective. I'm not, but I've got a case that has me searching for such an artifact. I know that I entered the city some time ago via a courier who shall remain deceased. A tragedy, I'm sure. No doubt it was for them. This is a rough say, especially for those About the right connections. The Shribu's rather hefty price tag attached, one which any kaiju would kill for, as I'm sure it has been over the millennia. Shiny stones often do attract the most aggressive manner of attention. That's hard to dispute. So now we have a priceless giant ruby somewhere in the city, a retainer in my pocket to locate it, and several kaiju bodies laying in its wake. Why would you come to me, detective? Because our mutual acquaintance tells me you're one of the few kaiju who also know the story, and has the means to write the next chapter. And your part in this narrative? I am but a simple bit player in all this, Onikogo. A useful MacGuffin to drive the plot to a satisfactory conclusion. Remember when I spoke out not wasting my time? Am I doing it now? You are. You speak like you've seen far too many human films. There's a nice theatre down on Splinter Street that plays the classics every weekend. That explains much about you, detective. Now, how about you tell me what you want now before I lose my patience? Where's the crimson old one? You seem awfully sure I possess it. Let's just call it a professional hunch. I think you'll need more than a hunch, detective. In my world, we take things a little more seriously than you kaiju down the streets. So before you open your jaw again, I would advise you think about your next words very carefully. Flicks the edge of her glass with a claw. It's alright. She flicks the edge of her glass with a claw. The perfect crystal ringing goes around the room. Do you have the statue? Do you have a credible reason to assume I do? Will you actually answer one of my questions? Will you ask any that I want to answer? Oh, whoops. Do you always answer questions with questions? Do you intend to keep asking them indefinitely? The pair of you stare at each other for a long moment. She starts to laugh. Oh, detective, you should see your face right now. What do you take me for? Some kind of tyrannical hoard? What do you take me for? Some sort of tyrannical hoarder stealing the treasures of the world to fill my cave? That's usually how museums are. A valid observation. Possession is everything. What I have, I own because I decided I want it. But I do not have Sandra's precious stone. After all these centuries, I don't even know if it truly exists, or was just one of those fanciful dreams. If I were you, detective, I would leave this fool's errand behind you and move on with what I've no doubt is an interesting life you live. Or else you might find that life to be far shorter and more interesting than you'd expect. Is that your final answer? It is. Well, then it's best I take my leave. I have a job to do, Onikogo. No, one I intend to do to the best of my ability. I am not going to stop digging as long as I'm on that job. Dig too long, detective, and you might find yourself digging your own grave. Should I take that as a threat? Onikogo stands, wings rippling around her. Take it however you wish, but I recommend you dig it elsewhere, The ground in these parts is treacherous. My butler will show you out. A pleasure, Onikogo. Good luck with the horde. I'd wish you luck, Detective, but I don't see much point. Your heavy footsteps echo down the alleyway, leading from the heart of the city back to the working neighbourhoods of the Outer Rings. The rubble of the street shrouded by 10,000 years of giant beasts, your talons kick up blooms of dust as you pass the detritus of ages. In areas like this, the shadows from the taller, richer buildings cover the poor districts in a blanket of gloom, a fitting buffer of silence to keep the scum at bay. It's places like this that the worst crimes happen, in the lawless region between the honest poor and the corrupt rich. Under one of the few dim street lamps, between you and the other end of the alleyway, leans a heavy-set figure, attempting to look inconspicuous and veiling the weight with menacing purpose. As you approach, trying to keep a ready distance between you, they raise their head and gesture out with an open paw. Hey buddy, you got a light. You remove your prop cigarette and blow a smoke ring in the direction. More than you could ever need. They straighten up, blocking up most of the light as they loom over you. Fire breather, huh? Waste of a good line. Still business is business. Two giant paws clasped together and their knuckles crack loudly. Onikogo's higher scales. Funny, I expected you to be taller. A grin with many missing teeth leers down at you. What's funny is no one's ever paid to have you shut up before now. You're wrong there, but you may win the prize for the ugliest goon paid to beat me up. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this. I bet you do. Well, if you've got a job to do, hurry up and get it over with. It's been a busy night. In the past, you've survived a total of 7 barroom fights, many against foes much larger than this creature. The secret is to hit low and run like hell. From behind, you hear the sound of claws sliding against each other. The pain as claw swipes through your shoulder is more intense than you could have imagined. Being beaten up is one thing, you've been through that plenty before too. Being slashed is excruciating. This must be how lore went out. The thug in front of you lands a punch in your gut and you go down hard trying to shield your stomach and shoulder with one good arm. Thick blood runs through your fingers. Onikogo said to tell you, try harder next lifetime. Good sense of humour, huh? In response, you try to give comes through a hiss from between clenched teeth. As you await the killing swipe of the claw to turn your lights out forever, you hear the lamp above you explode, plunging the alley into darkness. The fuck? A series of wet thumps and cut-off screams follow. The last thing you do is look up and see what's happening. For a full minute, the alley is in silence. The entire district seems to be holding its breath. A hand reaches down, grasps you by the good arm, and raises you to your feet. I haven't done that in a while. Nice to know I've still got it in me. In the pitch blackness, you hear a scrabbling and the sound of a match being struck against the wall. The burst of light in the darkness is almost blinding. Sorry I'm late. I don't walk as fast as I used to. Alex? Alex, I mean this in the nicest way possible. What the actual fuck? He holds the match up close to his arms, examining the blood covering it from claws to wrist. I was following you, thought that part was obvious. Good, none of this seems to be mine. You're after one of the most well-known knobs in the city, one who we know has killed before, and expect me to stay in the office playing with my chair? Carla would have my head if she knew I let you go off alone. The match burns out and he strikes another. He begins to lead you out of the alley and back towards the office. I really need to wash my hands. I hate the feeling of thug on my scales. Scare me sometimes, Alex, but I've never been gladder to have you working with me. So, does this mean I can have my name painted on the door too? No, I like you too much. Every movie I've seen where there are two PIs working in one office, they're scraping one of their names off the door within the first 15 minutes. And you're afraid I'd get knocked off? That's sweet. No, I'm afraid I'd get knocked off. You're the one who just saved me from ending up in the lake. At least we know one thing. And that is time. And we're heading over to the next person who is running the demos for the Queer Games bundle. Let's see, who is next on? Next up is Erin. Erin is live. Right, everyone, go enjoy. Erin is playing 2064 Read-Only Memories. And yeah, is going to be playing some more of the Queer Games bundle, so see what they have to show for it. Hold on, I'm checking. There she, yeah. Alright guys, thank you very much. Bye-bye.